Hi, I'm Gretchen Hanson. I'm the executive chef of Hobos Restaurant and Bar on Baltimore Avenue in Rehoboth Beach. And I'm sort of the it girl when it comes to doing local produce and healthy cooking. We do a lot of gluten-free work and a lot of plant-based. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate some more local and seasonal dishes for your spring, getting ready maybe for a little bikini weather. So I'm going to start off doing a little saute with some sunchokes and fennel. And they're root vegetables, which are available right now. And you can get those in your local grocery store if you can't find a local farmer that's growing them. So a little sunchokes, a little fennel. We're going to throw that in. And then I'm going to throw in a little bit of leek. And we're just going to saute that up till we have a nice crisp brown on it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning. I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning. We use a little bit of herbamare and white pepper. Herbamare is an herbal sea salt blend that's available at most natural health food stores. It's made with all organic spices. And we use white pepper because it has a cleaner and evener heat to it. So we're going to mix that in on the cooking process. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some roasted carrots and some roasted onions into this mix. And what we're going to have here is a very sultry, savory base for a veggie burger. Now, because we do a lot of gluten-free work, rather than just go ahead and add breadcrumbs into our gluten-free burger, we're going to work with some unusual ingredients. I work with cassava flour, coconut flour, quinoa flour, sprouted quinoa, but for the purposes of this dish, we're going to go ahead and add some red lentils, which are already cooked, and we're going to add some sprouted quinoa in. We're going to go ahead and add some sprouted quinoa. Now, this is a cooked sprouted quinoa, and the reason I like using quinoa or grains that have been previously sprouted is it makes your bioavailability of your proteins higher. And if you're working on a gluten-free and a high-protein diet, this is a great way to get your grains to remain plant-based or to eat less meat products, but also get enough proteins. And quinoa is a perfect protein for that choice. Now, one of the challenges with gluten-free cooking is that there's nothing to bind, because gluten is one of the necessities of gluten is for binding bread, for making it rise, etc., etc. So there's nothing to bind this veggie burger product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with a little bit of rice flour here. And I'm going to sprinkle that rice flour in and let that cook a wee bit. And then I'm just going to throw all this in a food processor. And we're going to check the temperature of everything to see if it's cooked through. You probably shouldn't do that at home, sticking your hands in the pot. I'm a little used to it by now. I'm going to throw this in the food processor. We're going to whip this up, but a very low pulse. We're not trying to make a homogenized product. What we're trying to do is to give it some texture so it feels like vegetables. So this is made out of vegetables and not just a processed mess. So we're going to pulse it up a couple times. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of vegetable stock into here, vegetable stock, for a little bit of liquid. There we go. Now what we have here is pretty messy. So we're going to dump that into this pan. And then we're going to work a binder in. Now we've used rice flour already, so let's try and use something else that's a little bit different. And for this purpose, I'm probably going to use a little bit of a cassava flour over here. I'm going to mix that in, and then I'm going to pat it in to an almond meal. Now, if I use this cassava flour, I want to let that sit for a little bit afterwards, just so it can combine. And what we're getting, once it has been chilled, we're going to get a burger type consistency that then we can then place into something like almond meal, so that it has a crust on the outside. Once we reheat this pan, we can add a little tiny itty bit of organic canola oil or extra virgin olive oil and toast our veggie burger on both sides. Now all our products inside are already cooked, So it doesn't need to be entirely cooked through. If we don't want it, it can have a nice soft mass. Or what we can do is lightly sear it on both sides and put it into the oven to finish. And what you have is a burger that's made out of 100% vegetables and whole grains to start. So you have something that's really, really high in nutrition, zero gluten, and wonderful for you, and also very, very low in calories. So if you're working on that little tight little bikini figure, this is the way that you want to think about starting. So to finish off this dish, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up some hydroponically grown basil, and I'm going to add some organic baby kale. Baby kale is available in any grocery store at this point. Just buy a bin of the organic baby kale and add a little bit into everything you make. It's very, very rich in vitamin C. I'm going to throw this in the pan with the veggie burger on a very, very low heat. Add a little bit of the basil. I'm going to add in some fresh sun-dried tomatoes that are chopped up. And then I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinegar. Make sure you use good oil. Make sure you use the best oil you have. And I'm going to heat this up so that I have a very, very lightly dressed warm salad, and then put the veggie burger on top of it. And I am ready to get into my spring bikini. I hope to see you here at Hobos, getting ready to get into yours.